My heart shatters on the floor, like bullets of a school corridor. The sound ricochets in my mind like the screams of a parent not able to pick their kid up in time. We are at war with the Reaper, the one who hugs the bullet while it pierces through the air, the same one who casts its scythe away because the gun was more American. This is a poem written by Destiny C. in 2022 titled American Death. These terrifying words accurately capture what so many innocent students and adults at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado went through on April 20th of 1999. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold's shooting at Columbine High School in 1999 was a highly studied event that continues to have an influential impact today. Therefore, there is much to say about the events leading up to the shooting. I will repeat. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold's shooting at Columbine High School in 1999 was a highly studied event that continues to have an influential impact today. After reading the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office report, Nicole Guzman's historical paper on the history and effects of the Columbine shooting, Ralph Larkin's book, Comprehending Columbine, and seeing how many individuals that I know and respect use the hashtag #IfIDie in a school shooting, motivated my urge to speak out on behalf of each and every person who has been affected due to a school shooting. Almost 300,000 individuals have been present on campus during a deadly shooting at a school since the tragic Columbine massacre that occurred in 1999. I'm now going to describe the events of the Columbine High School shooting in Littleton, Colorado, ranging from the background on the two shooters, the time the shooting began, and the effects that it had on schools and our country as a whole. Here's the background on the shooters. Eric Harris was born on April 9, 1981 in Wichita, Kansas. His family was described as a young and loving family. Eric began to show signs of some psychological problems at a young age. Eric was diagnosed with OCD, obsessive-compulsive disorder, which was later changed by the FBI into a psychopath. Eric grew up at the lower end of the popularity scale, according to the athletes he came across. It was here that he ended up meeting Dylan Klebold. In August of 1997 and in March of 1998, the Jefferson County Police received allegations regarding Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. They included charges of authorizing death threats and violent rants across the internet. They also received allegations that the two were building pipe bombs. According to the book Comprehending Columbine by Ralph Larkin, a year before the Columbine shooting happened, Eric Harris posted this online. I will break up explosives all over town and detonate each and every one of them. All I want to do is to kill and injure as many of you as I can, especially a few people. Police say nothing was ever done about this threat made by Eric Harris because they investigated it just as far as they could. Now, let's talk about what happened on April 20th of 1999. According to CNN's narrative timeline of events and Nicole Guzman's historical paper on the history and effects of the Columbine shooting, on the morning of April 20th, 1999 at 11:10 a.m., Eric Harris arrived at school by himself. Dylan Klebold also arrives in his car alone, but shortly after Harris does. Harris exits his car and goes to talk to one specific student that is outside of the school. The student, whose name is unknown, recalls Harris telling him that because he liked him, he should leave the school immediately. This is said to be the only student that Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold told to leave the school before their killing spree began. Around 11:14 a.m., Harris and Klebold exited their cars and walked into Columbine High School carrying two black duffel bags that contained propane bombs. The shooters had these bombs set to detonate at 11:17 a.m. After setting the bombs down, the shooters exited the cafeteria and returned to their cars. Between 11:19 and 11:23 a.m., police received a call of a bomb that went off on the east side of Wadsworth Boulevard between Ken Carl and Chatfield Avenues. This bomb was set as a diversion by the two boys, leading the police away from the school. However, the bombs they placed in the cafeteria never went off. At 11:19 a.m., a student heard someone yell, "Go, go, go." This is when Harris and Klebold began to open fire on the students and faculty of Columbine High. Some students claimed to hear one of the shooters yell, "This is what we've always wanted to do, this is awesome." Teachers and the rest of the staff, all while trying to figure out what is happening, instructed the students to get down and hide. At 11:24 a.m., Jefferson County Sheriff's Deputy Neil Gardner arrives at Columbine High and exits his vehicle. Eric Harris shifts his focus to the deputy from the student parking lot after firing into the high school's west doors. Harris's rounds are aimed directly at Gardner now. Before his rifle jams, Harris fires roughly 10 shots at the cop with it. The two shooters run inside, but they continue shooting. They are seen by some students smiling and laughing while their killing spree continues. At 12:06 p.m., the SWAT team arrives at the school. Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris go back into the library, where they then open fire on the police officers and paramedics outside of the building through the windows in the library. The time of the gunfire was between 12:02 and 12:05 p.m. No additional gunfire was ascribed to the shooters after that. The two shooters had turned their guns on themselves. According to the coroner's solutions, Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris's deaths were the results of self-inflicted shootings. Each was killed with a headshot. The witnesses were unable to determine exactly when Harris and Klebold committed suicide, since the cover fire continued through the whole rescue operation. According to History.com, the victims of the Columbine shooting include 12 students ranging in age from 14 to 18 and one teacher who was aged 47. Policymakers implemented new laws and put in place new rules in response to the Columbine High School shooting in 1999. In the years immediately following the Columbine shooting, regulations designed to prepare the classroom atmosphere for an active shooter were put into place, the ALICE training. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold's shooting at Columbine High in 1999 was a highly studied event that continues to have an influential impact today. I felt compelled to speak out on behalf of everyone who has been impacted by a school shooting. After reading the Jefferson County Sheriff's Report, Nicole Guzman's historical paper, and Ralph Larkin's book, and seeing how many friends and family I know use the hashtag #IfIDie in a school shooting in relation to this issue. Since the tragic Columbine High School massacre that occurred in 1999, nearly 300,000 people have been on campus where a deadly shooting has occurred. I previously transcribed to you the events of the Columbine High School massacre that occurred on April 20th of 1999. In a peaceful, cozy high school in Littleton, Colorado, two young people who were suffering from psychological disorders committed a mass murder that sparked outrage around the country. We can only hope that none of us will ever comprehend the emotions these Columbine teenagers experienced on this particular day, or the emotions that many other school shooting victims have experienced.